Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Verma and today we are learning the difference between supervised learning, unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. In the supervised learning, input and output are known. So here we have input data set and we know where to go. In unsupervised learning, only input is known. Here we have no idea about the output. That means we have input data set but we don't know where to go. In reinforcement learning, nothing is known. Next thing is in supervised learning we have labeled data. Labeled data is used to train supervised learning model. Let us suppose we are having a fruit on which label is given as a orange. This is called labeled data because on the shape label is given. It is very easy for machine learning model to understand that this is a orange because here we have the shape which is the input, this is spherical and the output is already labeled which is orange. So both input and output are known. In unsupervised learning we have unlabeled data. Here data is present to train the model but on which labels are not there. So here we have the fruit but its label is not there. So we cannot determine that this fruit is which. So the shape as the input is given but the output is not available because label is not present. In reinforcement learning, we don't have any predefined data. Here we are not having any shape or not the label. In the supervised learning, we have supervision. So there is a trainer which is available that is going to train the model because here we know the input, we know the output. So trainer is present which supervise the algorithm so that input can be mapped with the output. In unsupervised learning, there is no supervision. So here no trainer is available. Also in reinforcement learning, there is no supervision. In unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning, we don't have the idea about output. So supervision is not required because we don't know where to go. So trainer is not required. In supervised learning, we map input with output. Here we know both things, input as well as output, and the input is labeled data. So here we are just mapping the input with the known output. In unsupervised learning, we discover pattern from input and predict output. Here the input is known but output is not known. So here from the input which is unlabeled data, we discover the patterns and based upon that pattern we predict the output. Because we don't have the idea about output so we can only predict that. In reinforcement learning, we use trial and error method. Here we don't know about input as well as we don't know about output. So that's why we use trial and error method. In supervised learning, main aim is to calculate outcome. As we know the output, so we can easily calculate the outcome. In unsupervised learning, the main aim is to discover pattern. As we don't have any idea about the output and the data is unlabeled, so from here we can discover the patterns. In reinforcement learning, the main aim is to learn series of actions. Here we don't know about input and output. That's why we work on the reward system. So, based upon the reward, we understand where we have the profit and where we have the loss. So here we learn series of actions so that we can get maximum reward. In supervised learning, we solve two types of problem. The first one is regression and second one is classification. In regression, we have the relation between independent variable and dependent variable. Just like if the experience is growing, salary is also growing. This is positive relation. Second is, if the age of vehicle is increasing, the price of vehicle is decreasing, that is negative relation. In the classification, we classify things just like a mail can be spam or not spam. In unsupervised learning, we solve problems like clustering and association. This is also called associative rule mining. In clustering, we create the clusters. Because we don't have the idea about the output, so we can cluster the similar type of objects. In association, we discover interesting relations in variables of large dataset. In reinforcement learning, we solve problem of exploration or exploitation. Here the exploration is exploring or discovering new features, whereas exploitation means emphasizing the past features. If we are finding the new things, that is exploration, and if we are emphasizing the past things, that is exploitation. In supervised learning, to solve the regression problem, we have the algorithms like linear regression. In supervised learning, to solve the classification problem, we have the algorithm like logistic regression, k nearest neighbor, this is also called KNN, support vector machine, which is also called SVM, naive Bayes classifier, decision tree, random forest. Here, support vector machine, naive Bayes classifier, decision tree and random forest can also be used for solving regression problem. In unsupervised learning, to solve clustering problem, the algorithms used are k-means, c-means, fuzzy c-means. In unsupervised learning, to solve the association problem, the algorithm used is a priori. In reinforcement learning, to solve the exploration or exploitation problem, the algorithm used are Q-learning and deep Q network. The application of supervised learning is image detection, risk evaluation, and forecast sales. The application of unsupervised learning are recommendation system, anomaly detection, and customer segmentation. The applications of reinforcement learning are self-driving car, gaming, and healthcare. So these are the difference among supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So that's all for today. Thank you.